USA! USA!
We have an action-packed hour for you 6 p.m. drivers.
Would I rather be feared or loved? Easy, both. I want people to be afraid of how much they love me.
Matt Skraby wraps up a full day of live and local sports talk.
And that is the whole problem with aliens. You just can't trust them. Occasionally you meet a nice one, but usually they turn out to be some kind of big lizard.
The Skraby Show starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
Hello and welcome into the Skraby Show for October 31st, 2025. I am Matt Skraby. Thanks so much for joining me tonight on Halloween, one of my favorite holidays of the year. But yes, I am not a big costume guy. I've been asked this multiple times. Why aren't you in costume today? Why are you too good for a costume? You love scary movies. Why aren't you in a costume? As I explained earlier, I am in a scary movie season all year round. And as a kid, and I think I've said this on the show before, but as a kid, I really, really found finding a costume difficult because I just could not decide what was cool enough. Like, this is something that if I ever, could go back and tell little Skraby something that, try to give advice to little Skraby is what I'm trying to say. I would say, don't care what people think, bro. Don't care what people think. Because I was always so worried, this costume's going to be stupid. They're going to make fun of me. But I shouldn't have been like that because it doesn't really matter. It's just a Halloween costume. Addison Barger doubles off of Yamamoto in the bottom of the third to start the inning. No outs. Ernie Clement at the plate. Dodgers up 3-0, though. Dodgers up 3-0, which all three of those runs came in the last inning. So if the Blue Jays want to win it, and if the Blue Jays want to wrap it up tonight, they got to come back. They have to come back. So we'll see what happens. You don't want to go into a Game 7 at home. You don't want to go, if the Blue Jays were down in this series, obviously they would need to get to a Game 7, and that would be fine. But coming back home, leading the series 3-2, there's no room for you to lose this game. You do not want to put it up to fate and go to a Game 7 because you don't know which Dodger is going to wake up in that game. But right now, Yamamoto is pitching great once again. So we'll see what happens with him. We'll see if he's able to, or if the Blue Jays are able to string some hits together. Addison Barger, though, on second base with one out, bottom of the third inning. All guests on 97.3 The Fan. Join us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys, helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. Now, I realize most people are outside doing their trick-or-treating stuff, doing their Halloween parties. I think Friday for a Halloween is amazing. I think that Halloween should just be every year on a Friday, like the last Friday of the month. But I understand that that's never going to happen. But it's fun. It's good to have Halloween on a Friday because then you just don't have to deal with work the next day. And I know that teachers, more importantly, are happy that they don't have to deal with the sugar high that all of the kids will have in their classrooms. My mom's been a teacher for a long, long, long time, and I know all about the sugar high in classrooms after Halloween. But I will say I'm curious to know if trick-or-treating, and you can tell me on the chat if you want to watch the show. You can on YouTube. Just go to 97.3 The Fan, or you can go to the Skraby Show on YouTube, Facebook 97.3 The Fan, and then X at Matt Skraby. When you go to the YouTube, the Skraby Show, subscribe, because I'm trying to get to a certain level so I could do more with the account. I didn't know this about YouTube, but you can't do certain things on your account until you get a certain number of subscribers or views or whatever. So I'm trying to get to that point where I can do more. But I'm curious if trick-or-treating is as popular as when I was a kid. And I think this is probably a stupid question because you're just going around getting free candy from everyone. So I think that it's probably still popular. But if you are out and about or going out and about and you have any thoughts about Halloween these days and kids on Halloween, let me know, because I have no idea. I know that my nieces dressed up. One of them was a character from that what is it, the K-pop zombie show? I can't remember the exact name of it. And then I have no idea what my other niece was. But my new nephew was a jack-o'-lantern for Halloween, which I thought was kind of cute. But when I was a kid, my mom made costumes. I remember one year that I said I wanted to be, this is how I remember it, but I said I wanted to be Spider-Man. And so my mom made me a costume for Spider-Man, but she didn't do the right Spider-Man. And I'm, obviously not giving my mom a hard time about this, because she put a lot of effort into this costume. And I looked for this picture for a long time and I could not find it. But when I said I wanted to be Spider-Man, she made me a spider that's a man, not Spider-Man. So she had these like legs coming off of my back, which was basically, I think, like pantyhose filled with stuffing. And so like she had all, and so I was basically a spider, which obviously was not what I wanted. And I was probably a big old jerk as a kid about it, because that is what I was as a kid. I was a highly emotional child, so I'm sure I gave her a really hard time at that. But I got to give my mom a lot of credit. She also made, one time my brother was a Chinese food takeout box, and so she made that, which I thought was great. I mean, that's actually a really good costume. One year I was also like, I played football as a kid, so I was a dead football player where I wore all of my costume out, or my uniform out, and I put like white on my face, and I was a dead football player. I did not have creative costumes. My mom created creative costumes, but I was not a creative costume guy. Long story short, that is why I do not like to dress up on Halloween. The Blue Jays on the board now. As we've been speaking, we were talking about George Springer and his oblique, and in his first at bat, how much it looked like it hurt and how much he was favoring his right side. Well, he drove in Addison Barger with a single into the right center gap. So the Blue Jays are right there on the board, 3-1, 2 outs. Springer on first, and that will end the inning. Lucas flies out to left field. But tonight on the show, honestly, I'm just going to do a lot of potpourri of stuff. I did write a Halloween story, and I am really nervous to present this story, because something people may not know about me. I like to write stories. I like to write movies. I haven't written a movie, but when I was in college, when I was in high school, I like to write scripts, and I like to write stupid stories. And so sometimes, I haven't done this in a really long time, but I was driving home last night and I was like, you know what? I have this stupid idea in my head for a short story that I could do on the show, and I'm going to do it, but I do not know how it's going to go. It could be one of the worst things that 97.3 The Fan has ever put on the radio. And it could be one of the best things that 97.3 The Fan has ever put on the radio. But I think it's going to lie somewhere in the middle. So if you don't have anywhere to go, if you want to hear a disaster or hear my story that may not be great, and I'm already self-conscious about it, that's going to be next segment at 6:20. Let's see what the chat going on, right? Oh, K-pop Demon Hunters from Rico. Thank you, Rico. That's what my niece was. She was one of the characters from K-pop Demon Hunters, which is an insane premise for a show, but that is kind of funny to me. Katrina says, we've had like 3 groups of kids. There are tons of kids in the area. They all go to the full-size bar hood. Like, what? I don't understand that. I don't understand the selecting of the candies. When I was a kid, back in my day, I just had to go to the neighborhood that my parents took me. It wasn't like anyone was going to be giving out, full-size candy bars in my neighborhood. But it is, picking and choosing where you go just based on the candy size. Come on, kids. There are other people out there that want to give you candy too. I don't know why I'm freaking out on the kids out there. Katrina says it's a rich people area. Well, I guess it is the rich person area that would have the full-size candy bars. When I was little and I lived in the Bay Area, Mark McGuire lived really close to my grandparents. And so we would pass his house all the time as we would drive to my grandparents' house. And his house was like behind a gate and it was, further back. But I do know that he did let kids go and trick or treat. And I always wanted to go trick or treat at his house. And so maybe I'm kind of nullifying my own opinion about seeking out the houses with full size candy bars. But I heard back in the day that he gave out full size candy bars for Halloween. And I should have taking advantage of that. But no one ever took me to Mark McGuire's house. No one ever took me there. That is, a missed opportunity in my life. All right. The one thing I will say, and here's some sports. The one thing I will say about the World Series, I just want it to end because then the Padres can actually begin building for next season. And it's not just the symbolic end to the season. Most teams don't usually announce big things during the World Series. I've learned this over the years. It's kind of frowned upon to take the stage from the World Series. So I think that the Padres and here's just a complete conspiracy. But we've seen some managers being introduced this week. We've seen Tony Vitello from the Giants. He was hired. Blake Butera was hired by the Nationals. And then there was another hire that I'm blanking on right now. Derek Shelton of the Twins. So usually, you don't announce these things. But these were kind of small fish in the manager pond. So I think that they got away with announcing this because it was not that big of news. But if the Padres haven't announced theirs, and here's where the conspiracy comes in. If the Padres haven't announced a manager hire yet, are they waiting for the World Series to be over so that they can announce that Albert Pujols is going to be the manager of the team? That's my conspiracy, is that they are waiting for the World Series to be over so that they can break this news, because this news, if Albert Pujols was hired as manager of the Padres, this news would be massive. And if they were to announce it tomorrow morning and there is a game 7, all of a lot of, not all, but a lot of the talk on Monday or on Saturday would be about Albert Pujols being hired by the Padres. And that goes nationally, because I think that becomes a national story if he is hired by the Padres. And so that's where I'm get this World Series over with so that the Padres can move forward and start building for 2026. I think we are needed. That is needed. I am tired of speculating, and now, I'm going to be speculating all winter, but once they announce the managerial hire, things can go forward. So let's look for that soon. Let's I stopped there because Trevor said Fox got the guarantee of 7 from Manfred's office. So I guess we're going to go 7, according to Trevor, because, Fox paid for the World Series to broadcast it. They need 7 games. But anyway, I think maybe, possibly, conspiracy. They announce Albert Pujols after the World Series ends. All right, this is the Skraby Show. I'm Matt Skraby. When we get back, my Halloween story that I'm going to tell, it's about baseball. And I think people are going to think it's stupid and funny. So we'll do that when we get back here. 97.3 The Fan. So this is a theme from the original Friday the 13th. And it sounds more like Disney than anything. But I think I said this a few weeks ago. I watched the original Friday the 13th, and although a classic horror movie, it's not great. It's not great. I know that people love that movie. I'm just not a fan of it. I can't get into it. I don't know why. It wasn't as scary as everybody told me. And it's like that for a lot of movies, but I am a Jason Voorhees fan. However, not a fan of the original Friday the 13th, which is kind of sacrilegious in the scary movie world. Dodgers still up 3-1 on the Blue Jays. They have a runner at first, bottom of the fourth, 1 out, and Yamamoto still pitching, Varsho up. So we will update you on that as we go. Now, I wrote this story, and it's a Halloween story, but I don't know if anybody's ever seen the Fall of the House of Usher on Netflix. Great show if you want to watch it. But the story is basically an older guy telling someone about his life and about why certain things happen in his life and why he doesn't like certain things like that. So I'm telling this story. I've written this story in that kind of perspective of a guy who is telling a story from his past. And so with that said, I will get into it after Dodgers complete the double play. But now I will get into it, and I have music for it and everything. So here we go. For the entirety of my grandchildren's lives, they have known one rule about Grandpa. Don't talk about Halloween. I wasn't involved in some Michael Myers type stuff, but I did feel like October 31st, 2025 was as close to the veil, as close to the other side as I have ever been. I was an up-and-coming sports agent, and even though I didn't expect it, Major League Baseball was my specialty. I started with some lower-level players, but my big break came when I was able to represent a player from the Los Angeles Dodgers. And let me say, that is a demonic team. I won't even say that person's name in fear of invoking whatever demonic presence I came face-to-face with all those years ago. The player I was representing told me Max Muncy was throwing a Halloween party, and I should go get my name out there with some of the other guys. I had no choice but to go. Being on such short notice, I didn't have time to get a costume, so I went as Jerry Maguire. It was easy, because I was a sports agent, and I got to yell, "Show me the money!" which sounded really fun. But I get to the party, and I was actually feeling quite self-conscious. I was going to a costume party dressed up like myself, but I did feel better when Max Muncy opened the door and was dressed in his Dodgers uniform. Assuming he wasn't dressed as himself and he was dressed as a teammate, I reached out to shake his hand and said, "Hey, Shohei, how are you doing?" Max Muncy grew enraged, turned his back on me, and said while walking away, "Why does everyone think I'm dressed up as Shohei?" Suddenly, right in front of my eyes, Dave Roberts appeared in front of me and said, "Strike one." And as soon as he finished those words, he poof, disappeared. I looked around in bewilderment. What just happened, I thought. No one was around to witness what I just witnessed. Confused and slightly disturbed by what just happened, I made my way inside and looked for my client. As I walked in, I saw all of the stars. Freddie Freeman was a spider. Clayton Kershaw was the red M&M. Teoscar Hernandez was Popeye. And I couldn't believe what I saw. Shohei Ohtani was dressed up as his dog Decoy, and his dog Decoy was dressed up as Ipe with a sign around him showing #free Ipe. This Halloween party was becoming more and more strange by the minute, and I still hadn't even met up with my client yet. I started searching the house for him, and he was nowhere to be found. Walking around, about to call him, my phone buzzed. The text read, Be there soon. Annoyed and still feeling very unsettled after the Dave Roberts ghost smoke cloud thing appeared, I tried to blend in. I found the vegetable tray, and when I get nervous, I tend to eat too much. I started to eat the celery. One piece became two pieces became three. Not to mention, I was dunking everything in ranch multiple times. As I took a bite, I saw Max Muncy again, and he said to me, "I am not dressed up as Shohei Ohtani." I said, "Max, it's okay. I just thought everyone wanted to be Shohei. I didn't mean anything by it." And as I finished saying that, I went to dip my half-eaten celery stick in the ranch. Max yelled, "And you're a double dipper too?" He stormed away and was very angry when poof, Dave Roberts, Smoke Ghost Guy, popped up and said,
Strike two.
Once again, this was terrifying. And once again, as quick as he appeared, he vanished. I looked around again, and no one, even though there were people everywhere, saw nothing. I was starting to feel very uncomfortable. I could feel a cloud of darkness, some sort of mood-changing energy around me. I decided it was time to leave. I don't care about meeting my client, and as I walked towards the front door, my phone buzzed again. And it was my client. And he did say, "I'm upstairs, second door on the left." Weird, I thought. How did he walk right by me? Still scared out of my mind, I head towards the staircase and start walking up, but when I get to the top, I realize there is no left. There was a right and a straight, no left. If I know anything about my guy, he meant right when he said left. I head towards the right and turn the door handle to the second door from the hallway. As I walk in, I realize this was not the right door. I hear a small bark, and I see Shohei Ohtani dressed up like his dog Decoy standing over a craps table throwing the dice. Immediately, everyone looked towards the door, and the light now showing in. In unison, security grabbed me and slammed the door. I pleaded with security, telling them I was just looking for my client. They did not care. One of the security guards, dressed up like Frankenstein, said, "You saw too much. It's time to deal with Dave." A jolt ran down my spine, and I felt immediate panic and terror. I have seen Ghost Dave Roberts twice tonight, and I did not want to go where they were taking me. In one smooth motion, I twisted right out of the tight grip of security and started to run towards the stairs to make my way to the front door. As I was running, Ghost Dave Roberts appeared at the top of the stairs. He blocked my way down, and I had no choice but to stop and look for another way. As I was looking around, trying to find another way out, I hear Dave Roberts say,
Strike three.
but this time he did not disappear. He took a baseball out of his pocket and said, "Now feel the wrath of the sinister sling." I knew what he was talking about. He made such a big deal about something so insignificant. Whatever he had planned with this, it couldn't be scary at all. But he threw the ball at me, and it was moving so slowly, so outside of normal movements, so terrifying. I immediately was paralyzed with fear. I couldn't move. I couldn't figure out why this slow ball was rolling. I couldn't figure out why this slow rolling ball was so terrifying. Then I felt my heart dropping, feeling like a dark force was taking over. The ball had barely gone 3 feet. It was moving so slow, but it felt like an hour. The ball got closer, and I was still frozen. I had this strange feeling of my impending doom as the ball drew closer. It's like the ball had an energy. It's like I was feeling what Dave Roberts was feeling that one fateful night. The ball was about a foot away from me, and I was sure I was going to die. I didn't understand it, but I felt it. This was it. I will die at the hand of Dave Roberts and the sinister sling. As soon as I accepted my fate, the ball ended up passing me in even slower motion, but once it got past me, it disappeared. Immediately, I was able to move, and the fear of my impending doom went away. Dave Roberts had disappeared, and so did the security guards. The dark cloud went away, but now all I felt was rage. Rage against Dave Roberts for making such a big deal about something so small. Rage that Ken Rosenthal wrote an article talking about the dangers of Manny Machado, Jurickson Profar, and Fernando Tatis Jr. As the rage built, I knew I needed to get out of there. I got up from the floor and ran down the stairs. On my way out, I saw Max Muncy once again. And feeling rage, I said to him, and I looked at him and said, "See you later, Shohei," and ran out the door. All I could hear was Max Muncy once again screaming, "Why does everybody think I'm Shohei Ohtani?" I left that party feeling like I just got away from almost dying at the hands of Dave Roberts. It's been years since that night, but every time Halloween comes around, there is a part of me that feels the rage Dave Roberts made me feel all those years ago. Now, you know why my grandchildren are told never to ask Grandpa about Halloween night. That's it, everybody. That's it. I don't know how that went over. I tried to give it my all. I tried to make it sound good, but that's the story. It's stupid, but I had fun with it. So hopefully you all had fun with it out there as well. Don't know if I'll ever do that again, but it was just fun trying to come up with something stupid for Halloween night. Let me go to the chat. Okay. Oh. People are saying that Rod said, ha, 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 ha. Katrina said, irony is Ohtani is up at this moment, and they just randomly showed Muncy. This is hilarious. They just flashed on Dave Roberts. This is perfect timing. Okay. Well, hey, if they were working it on the TV while I was telling my story, I'm all good. But now I don't really know where to go with this. So that was it. That's my story. Thank you for putting up with me. Thank you for listening. And if you have any comments about the story, you can head on over to the chat on YouTube, The Skraby Show or 97.3 The Fan. When we get back, we are going to talk a little bit more about the World Series. And honestly, I think I'm just going to go through and talk about scary movies. Like I got a IMDb post earlier that said the 7 best horror movies of all time. So maybe we'll go through that. But it's Halloween night. We're having fun. Hopefully everybody's being safe out there. Talk to you on the other side.
Ben and Woods.
Of course, everybody knows this is the Jaws theme. I think it might be one of the most recognizable movie songs ever. I'm just making that up right now, but it does seem like everybody knows the Jaws theme. And I know that Jaws is considered a scary movie, which it is. I mean, big shark like that definitely is scary. I'm not a fan of that, but I wouldn't consider it a horror movie at all. I wouldn't. And the reason is because it's not set in that way. It's more of a monster movie than a horror movie. And for anybody who's listening for the first time, the reason I say horror is because if you say it too fast, it means something different on the radio, or it means something different out in life too. But definitely on the radio, people have thought I've said the other word many a time. So that's why I say horror. So I do not get into that sort of trouble once again. Ernie Clement on bass. Ernie Clement is making a name for himself in these playoffs. He's been everywhere. But the Dodgers, for as bad as they started, they picked it up. Mookie Betts, though, they ruled this a hit? Who is the scorer of this? Like, that was Mookie Betts was just moving to his left. It was easily in his glove, and it just popped out of his glove. I'm not sure why they ruled that a hit. There was another play earlier where Max Muncy just lifted a little bit on a ball to third. It was a high chopper, but he ended up just letting it go under his glove. And that was ruled a hit too. I don't know. There should be 2 errors on the Dodgers right now, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I'm not sure what the score is looking at. If you disagree with me, let me know. But back to Jaws. Yes, Jaws is not a scary. It's a scary movie, but it's not a horror movie. Like, I think that movies like 30 Days of Night, which we talked about the other day, love that movie. It has Josh Hartnett in it. Basically, what it is, in Barrow, Alaska. So, like, maybe one of the most northernmost points in the United States. It goes dark for like months at a time because it's so high up on the earth. And the premise of the movie is that these vampires end up going to this town because the sun doesn't come up for a long time. So if they go to this town, they don't have to worry about dealing with the sun, which is a really interesting premise. And these vampires go and they just destroy this town, and Josh Hartnett has to save the day. And it's a really good movie. I would recommend watching it. It's intense. And I've never seen the sequel to 30 Days of Night, but I've heard the sequel of 30 Days of Night is really good too. Here's a little fact about our station I don't know many people know. Our boss Adam and we talk about scary movies all the time. He loves scary movies. He's a huge 30 Days of Night fan. He is the one who actually told me that the sequel to 30 Days of Night was really good. So that's interesting. I would have never pegged Adam as a scary movie guy. I don't know why, but he loves it. We share a lot of similar interests in the scary movie realm. So that's always a fun conversation. But I have this list. Again, we are it's Halloween night. I'm having fun on a Friday. And I have a list of the top 7 horror movies ever made according to IMDb. So we're going to go through this real quick because I've been also doing some scary movie stuff throughout the month. But they say number 7 is A Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984. I do think that A Nightmare on Elm Street is a great movie. It is scary. Like, the idea that someone can attack you in your dreams or while you're asleep is extremely scary. The premise of Freddy Krueger is terrifying to me. And the movie was absolutely terrifying. And I remember when I first watched this movie, this was probably when I was, I don't know, teenager. I did not want to go to sleep that night. And that's how you know it's a good scary movie, is when something from a movie makes you not want to go to sleep. And I did not want to go to sleep because I did not want to see Freddy Krueger in my dreams. That was scary. Even the story behind how Freddy Krueger was, made is a little creepy. Not even a little creepy. It's very creepy, but I'm not going to go into that right now. Now, number 6 on their list of scariest movies, according to IMDb, The Omen from 1976. Now, I've only seen this movie once, and it's like I like to watch those shows. There's a show on Shudder, which is a scary movie streaming app, and I watched this a long time ago, but they went through like the top 100 scary movies of all time, and everybody always says The Omen is in like the top 10. I thought The Omen was good, but I don't know if it's top 10. And maybe some of this has to do with when it came out, because some of these movies are just not scary 30, 40 years later. This was made in 1976, so we're almost at what, 50? No, yeah, we're almost at 50 years with this movie. It's scary, but it's not the scariest movie I've ever seen. Basically, what happens is they adopt a child, and this child is pretty much the Antichrist. So that's the quick synopsis on that. Number 5, Halloween, 1978. Love this movie. Watch this movie probably, I don't know, over 100 times. But I will say I like Halloween 2 more than Halloween 1. I think Halloween 2 is better just because Halloween 2 starts up right at the end of Halloween 1. So you don't have to wait for anything to happen, really. It just starts up right as things are happening. And I understand why people say Halloween 1's better. I remember talking to my mom about this, and she said when she was watching it back in back in the day in the 70s, it was very scary because the original name for Halloween would have been they wanted it to be the Babysitter Murders. And so any babysitter back in the day would think about this movie. So I understand why people were scared. But Halloween is scary to me because Michael Myers is the coolest, calmest, collected guy you could ever find in a scary movie villain. And Michael Myers still lives to this day. We finally find out, like years down the road, in Halloween 8 maybe, we finally find out that Michael Myers, the reason he can't die is because he's a demonic being. We don't really know why, but it just is explained that he's a demonic being. But the first Halloween movie from 1978, Jamie Lee Curtis making her name, really, really good. Number 4 on this list of IMDb scary movies, Night of the Living Dead from 1968. Now, this one, I will say, it's not scary, but it is a great movie. Absolutely fantastic movie. If you've never seen the 1968 version of Night of the Living Dead, then you need to, because there's a scene in the beginning, and I should have pulled this up earlier, that I say all the time. And here it is.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Stop it! You're ignorant.
They're coming for you, Barbara.
Stop it! You're acting like a child.
They're coming for you. Look, there comes one of them now.
Anyway, they're in a cemetery, and all of these dead people start coming out, and he's just joking with her. He's trying to make her scared and all that stuff, but he ended up, it was an actual zombie. But anyway, 1968, great movie. The Night of the Living Dead. I don't know why I forgot about it. Number 3, Rosemary's Baby. Can't really comment on this one. From 1968. Everybody says it's really, 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 really scary. Never seen Rosemary's Baby. So maybe that's what I have to do tonight. So I can't really comment on this. Number 2, The Exorcist from 1973. Now, we've talked a lot about The Exorcist here in the last couple days because we've been playing the theme song coming back from break. But The Exorcist still holds up. I don't care who you are, how old you are, watching The Exorcist will scare you, because they were able to do the effects in a way that I didn't know was possible in 1973. But the whole thing with what's her name, Reagan, in the movie where she gets possessed by a demon. I believe the demon's name is Pazuzu, which is kind of a funny thing. But Pazuzu possesses Reagan, and a lot of crazy stuff happens. I don't even need to explain The Exorcist because so many people have seen it, but I don't need to do that. Now, number one, I'm already seeing KG saying, if number one isn't The Thing, then this list is stupid. And, I love The Thing. I do love that movie. But this movie is also an incredible movie, and it deserves to be number one, and that would be The Shining from 1980. This movie, like the first time I saw it, I didn't really know what I was watching because I was very young. But as I got older and started watching them, The Shining is a creepy movie. And Nicholas, that's a golfer. Jack Nicholson is extremely good in this movie. I think it's his best movie. The whole thing with the like no work or no work and all play makes Jack, or no play and all work, whatever that is, makes Jack a dull boy, is very scary. And the scene where he starts taking the axe to the door, very, very scary. KG says scary, Skraby, but seriously, it's not scary in the way that it's gonna like make me not go to bed that night, but it's scary in the way that it's just you put yourself in that position of a guy who's losing his mind, and he's there with his wife and his kid in a snowed in hotel that they're watching over the winter. That is scary to me. Oh, Katrina got it. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Trevor says The Shining was incredible. Renee says The Shining, I must have been 7 years old. KG says it deserves to be on the list more than The Omen and Rosemary's Baby. 100%, KG. It does deserve to be on the list over The Omen or Rosemary's Baby. I think I might go watch Rosemary's Baby tonight. See if it's that scary. The Thing is really good, though, KG. I'm not disagreeing with you about The Thing. I also was going to try to do this thing where I was going to come up with the Padres players and compare them to villains in horror movies. And I only really got one, so I ditched that idea, but I'll tell you what my one was. And Jason Voorhees came to mind when I thought about Nick Pavetta. Nick Pavetta would be a great Jason Voorhees. He's kind of deliberate, but he's also intense. He has a sense of calm in the face of danger. Nick Pavetta pitching is the equivalent to Jason Voorhees walking around Camp Crystal Lake looking for someone to kill. So that's as far as I got on the whole Nick Pavetta thing, really. Or the if Padre players were horror movie villains. I couldn't really place anyone else. I don't really know why I couldn't place anyone else, but I couldn't. So that's why I stopped with that idea. World Series, bottom of the sixth, Dodgers 3, Blue Jays 1. Yamamoto still in this game. If I'm not mistaken, Yamamoto has not been replaced in a game since he's pitched back-to-back. I'm pretty sure he's pitched back-to-back complete games. I got to go confirm this before I go with it. And thank you for everyone who stuck around for the Halloween spectacular with the Skraby Show. I appreciate all of you. Seriously. I really do. Yamamoto, clicking that. Yes, he went, last two starts. Went 9 innings each. Complete game. He's on his way to doing it 3 straight times. And I'm sure they're going to talk about it here soon. But I don't know that there's any pitcher in playoff history that's gone 3 straight games going 9 innings. Maybe after like the 1960s or something like that, just because some of those guys used to pitch 18 innings back in like the early 1900s. I don't know your name, but it says Martin Maldonado is Scream because he's a slasher. That's pretty good. I appreciate that. Thank you for contributing. Thank you, KG, Katrina, Trevor, Renee. Thank you to everybody who has been here tonight during the Skraby Show.
What's annoying Skraby today? Let's find out. It's time for the Daily Gripe.
This one is going to come from a dog walking incident that I had the other day. And the Daily Gripe is this. I'm usually walking 3 dogs because I walk my parents' dogs too. So I have my dog Lucky, who was a French fry last year, by the way, for Halloween. I had my dog Lucky, and I have my parents' dogs. So I have 3 dogs. And my daily gripe is when you are walking down this street and someone is coming at you without a dog or with like 1 dog, who has the right of way on that side of the street? Because, if they have a dog, then I don't want to try to pass each other on the same sidewalk because you never know what's going to happen with the dog. But I cannot stand it when people with 1 dog keep walking and make me move my 3 dogs across the street. I think if you have 3 dogs, you should be able to take the sidewalk. That is your sidewalk. When I'm walking Lucky only, and it's just me and I see someone else who has 2 or 3 dogs, I always move over. But that is really annoying because it happened the other day and this lady seemed like she was annoyed with me. I don't understand it. But that's my daily gripe. And that's the Halloween show. Thank you to everybody who's been with us all week long. Hopefully we have some more Padres news to talk about on Monday. We'll be back then. World Series will be over. Hopefully the Padres do something that we can talk about. Have a great, safe weekend, everybody.